today's gonna suck. I really do think she has some nerve damage.
So these are the 2 new bottle kids.
I think there might be hope to train this one. The other one, I'm not sure.
Her genetics have left a mark on this herd and we'll never forget her. Good morning. Well, today's gonna suck. Skid loader broke last night, lost the pin that holds the bucket on. I got 1 scoop of snow scooped and lost it. Can't find it. I think my husband looked for an hour and a half. I was all over the place yesterday, so I may have lost it, you know, in the way back pasture, up by the manure pile, who knows. So as you can tell, we got, I think 8.5 inches of snow last night. And I can't even use a wheelbarrow. So the cattle are gonna be out of hay this morning, and I'm gonna have to hand carry 400 pounds of hay out there for them. I can't clear snow, so I can't push a wheelbarrow through the snow. So my husband's calling the implement this morning to see. I mean, I doubt they'll have it in stock, but hopefully we can order it and not have to wait a week. I'm gonna get started on chores here. I'm way behind. Oh, I gotta turn the lights on. It's so dark in here. All the skylights are covered in snow. I just want to show you, the calves did finally catch on to the creep. Hey, buddy. I don't know if that red calf has figured it out. I haven't seen her in there at all. But for sure, all 3 of the black calves have it figured out. They aren't eating much yet, which is fine. It takes a while for them to kind of catch on to it, but they're getting there. I'm gonna go in. I've had blind spots in my vision now for about an hour, which usually means a migraine is coming. I don't get them often, every 3 years or so, but when I do, they're bad, and I'm down and out for like 24 hours. I started working on a few projects, and I'm like, no, I'm just gonna go in, get done what I gotta get done, and go to bed. The one thing I did first, I separated Ray out here. So she had kind of a limp the other day, just all of a sudden. I picked up her feet, made sure she didn't have an abscess or anything going on with her hooves. She has lost so much condition. She always does because she's a super heavy milker. And her kids are hands down the biggest kids in the whole kid crop this year. It went from a slight limp to being completely non-weight bearing on that back foot. She was missing a little bit of hair, on the one leg, so I thought maybe she got it stuck or somehow injured it. I had started out giving her some meloxicam, just assuming it was like just some soft tissue damage or something. I have now switched her to dexamethasone because I really do think she has some nerve damage. She doesn't respond the way she should to manipulation. She really has no resistance or pushback. And she really doesn't have as much of a pain response as she should have when she's manipulated. So I switched her to dexamethasone last night. It's too early to really see much of a response, but her kids are so relentless about nursing on her. Like, they're horrible. They, several times an hour, force her to get up. And she's such a good mom that she does it. And she cannot be getting up that much. Now, we don't want her to lay around that much either, but we can't be forcing her to get up constantly. Those kids are on creep. They'll be fine. So what I'm going to do is just pen her separately and then give her kids access to her several times a day. Let her out, let her walk around a little bit, and see if that doesn't just help her, you know, take a little stress off of her. Also, then it's just easier for me to see what she's actually like eating. I have been penning her separate just to give her some more grain apart from everybody else, just because she needs it. However, I want to see how much hay she's actually eating, because I have a feeling she's not standing at the bunk as long as she should, just because that back leg hurts. So this way, she's in a pen. She can eat without standing. She can reach her nose into that bucket I have there with the hay, and she really doesn't have to go far. She can lay right there and eat on the ground. So I'm really hoping that that'll help kind of get her energy back up, knowing that she's consuming the right amount of feed, and then just taking a little bit of stress off of her with not having to get up all the time for those kids. Good morning. So I have 2 new bottle kids. A lot has happened in the last day, and I will update you later, but right now I gotta get to training new kids and feed my current kids. So I accidentally left that door to the creep open last night. Fern, hey, that's for the kids, not for you. Get your big butt out of there. But it's so warm.
So these are the 2 new bottle kids. They are on a little bit of creep, but it's not sufficient. They did not understand the bottle last night, so now they're probably really hungry, so we'll see if we can get them on this morning.
Okay. No, you are not helpful. I just fed you. Okay. You're gonna get thrown out. These kids are just massive. That other one that happened last night, it was being really obnoxious. There, they did not like the nipple I had last night. Oh, look, you're kind of getting it. Yeah, keep sucking. Oh, good. There might be hope to train this one. The other one, I'm not sure. Hey, hey. Yeah, y'all are not helpful. is well past lunchtime, so I'm gonna go in and eat, and then I will catch you up on everything that's kind of gone on in the last 2 days. I'm gonna open up a doe that I had to euthanize. So Ray, my girl that was limping, I ended up having to euthanize her. I'll just recap. So she had a limp one night, and it came on pretty sudden. She was getting up and down fine, feeding her kids totally fine. So I just gave her some meloxicam, hoping it was soft tissue damage, and gave her more meloxicam the next night. Nothing had really changed. And by the next morning, so like 36 hours later, she all of a sudden like went completely non-weight bearing. She kind of toe touched a little bit, but not much. And then I was doing some manipulations again, and it did seem more at that point like a spinal injury or a pinched nerve, like something like that. And the meloxicam wasn't touching it. So I gave her a pretty heavy dose of dexamethasone that night. You have to wait 24 hours when switching from an NSAID to a steroid. So I gave her a pretty heavy dose as kind of a Hail Mary attempt, and I didn't see like any improvement over the next 24 hours. Gave her another dose, and then when I came out last night, she had really significant swelling over her femur. She had not had that prior. I had texted the vet, and she called me back because she was still up. And I discussed it with her a little bit. She said I'd have to do an orthopedic exam to make sure, but from everything you're telling me, it definitely sounds like either a dislocation or a broken femur, neither of which they can really do anything for with any success for a goat. In food production, it's not worth doing surgery or anything. If you want to be profitable on a farm, you can't do stuff like that. Not only that, but I don't even know if people do orthopedic surgeries on goats. I'm sure some university would love to have it, but they're gonna charge you. It won't be free. So I had separated her the night before, and I was just giving her kids access to her a couple times a day to nurse. She was in more pain. She was grinding her teeth. Her appetite had severely decreased. She didn't even finish all of her grain for the day, and of course from that she had no milk. She was still getting up and down fine by herself, but she wasn't using that leg at all. And knowing that there was slim to no chance of her recovering from this, I decided to just euthanize her late that night. I will process her today, save the meat and organs for my dogs. She's had meloxicam and dexamethasone. However, depending on the drugs that they've had, I will choose to feed the meat and the organs to my dogs. If she would have been on Draxin or something like that, I wouldn't. It depends on what meds they've been on and for how long. And this is just such a small portion of their diet that I'm okay with them getting the residues from it. The hide and head will go in the freezer for further processing. I'm gonna go ahead and vaccinate Ray's kids. They aren't quite due for their CD&T. However, now I have not had any success getting them on a bottle. They are on a little bit of creep, but now they're gonna have to increase that creep consumption. They are eating hay as well, but it's not gonna hurt for them to get their CD&T vaccine. And then I also am gonna give it to those 3 kids that are like 2 weeks older than everybody else. I'll give them to them right away because everybody else isn't due for vaccination for like another 10 days. I have got that doe all taken apart. So basically I've got an entire tote full of meat here, bone-in meat. I've got all the organs separate, and then this is all the waste I have. Basically the entire GI tract. And the feet, that's it. I've got the head and the hide, gonna go in the freezer to process later. So I think it's probably like 4:30, maybe 5 o'clock now. So I think I'm gonna go ahead, get chores done, and go in early for the night. I'm still hoping to get to town yet. Her hip was definitely dislocated on one side. The other side, I'm not sure what was holding it in. So that cord that like goes through that ball joint there that like holds it, locks it in place, I like didn't even need to slice through it on the good side. So the one side that was bothering her that she was limping on, it was infected. So it dislocated at some point, got a joint infection, but the other side looked dislocated to me too. I took some pictures that I sent to my vet, but that's really baffling to me because I don't know how she could have gotten around so good. I have noticed that her legs have seemed to be positioned weird. We had struggled to keep condition on that doe, and she seemed to have some muscle wasting, and she's such a heavy lactator. But it really only seemed to be muscle wasting on her butt. Like the rest of her, like her spinal process wasn't sticking out, her ribs weren't showing. So like something was definitely going on in her back end, and I kind of discussed it with my vet a couple times, but she couldn't understand why that would possibly be just in her hind end. But she was still walking fine and getting around, so that just seems odd. She wasn't like laying around too much or anything like that would have indicated like that severe of problems. I 100% know I made the right decision euthanizing her, and I'm glad I did. It was so sad. So she was one of my first 5 breeding does. She's left a legacy here. I think I have kept every doe that she has ever given birth to. One of her bucks I had as a breeder for like 4 years. I think I have 8 of her direct progeny in my herd, and her buck from her second litter has produced I probably have 15 does out of him in my herd. So she has left her footprint on our herd. It seems silly to cry because this is farming and this is the worst part of the job. You know, it has to be done, but it sucks. Most of the time I don't have this hard of a time, but there's always a few that hold a special place in your heart, and she was one of them. So sad to see her go, but her legacy is gonna live on. Her genetics have left a mark on this herd, and we'll never forget her.